This Casual Friday is brought to you by Audible. That was my favorite comic book from the 70s, Leland Yee and Shrimp Boy.
Yeah.
Pretty good. It was back when he used to carry a gun, or 100 AK-47s.
As someone who has like talked to and interviewed and debated Leland Yee on a few occasions.
There's only one of us here, I think, who that could be describing.
Yeah. But so typically the argument would revolve around like, well, I'm a child psychologist, you aren't. So really this discussion shouldn't even be happening because I have greater authority because I have a FUD after my name. And you know, he was big on other things that I kind of agree with, which is like illegal guns and stuff like that. And now he was
big on illegal guns.
With facilitating the importing of
He's big on illegal guns. No one can argue with that. Allegedly.
Allegedly. He's also allegedly big on murder for hire.
Allegedly.
Yeah, we always know there's kind of an innate hypocrisy when a lot of politicians go after something like video games.
Yeah, whenever it's an ethical thing, it always feels like they almost have to be indulging in the exact ethical opposite, like the opposite side of the pendulum.
I know, that's the thing. It's like, wow, I mean, it's laid out so...
You can practically tell what a dude's like weird hang-ups are in politics by what things he hates the hardest.
Because it's always the politician who's really against gay rights who's then caught
in an airport bathroom.
In an airport bathroom with a man,
That was such a great summer.
Oh,
that was just Wide Stance. Remember Wide Stance?
Oh, 2007 was great.
Yeah.
That was a great summer.
That was a great time. So, you know, I think the funniest part about the Leland Yee thing is, you know, we'll see it pop up, people get worried, and there still is like some efforts at the state level to legislate, but it really isn't a big deal, both legally, like it's just kind of like, you know, Supreme Court just kind of said, hey, no, it's protected, it's speech.
Right.
Okay, there we go. But also, it just, when it does flare up, it's almost, it's like the second lobster scene in Annie Hall where you're trying to recreate the magic of the earlier one. It just doesn't have the verve to it.
That just went over Nick's head because he's never seen Annie Hall.
Of course it did. Man, though, it's so funny to think of how it feels like it comes in waves and then all of a sudden nobody cares anymore.
Yeah.
Like the other day I was just thinking for some reason like, oh my God, Jack Thompson still exists. He had lunch today. Like Jack Thompson is alive somewhere in this world.
I kind of miss Jack.
A little bit.
You know, because I don't think he has my number anymore. And
Did he?
Would he call you? Would he call you?
He would just call me.
For real?
He would call me.
Hey, Adam, it's
just
Jack
to remind
Thompson
me he
here.
was still around. And you know, the whole thing with Jack is, he was kind of a cartoon.
That's the thing, having a cartoon supervillain is great.
Because by the end, he started looking like the characters from Vice City. He was always wearing like the Hawaiian shirts and khakis. It was like,
that's when he bought his, like, you know, I think he stayed up till midnight to buy a copy of Grand Theft Auto 4.
Yes.
But I mean, there was, and I'll admit it, it was always kind of like, it's kind of good when that happened because a lot of people would pay attention. Like you could see views would go up.
Sure.
Or back then, like, I don't know if ratings went up, but it all felt more important. But there was always that sense of, we're making this sound more dangerous than it actually is. And I kind of question sometimes if that sense of threat. I think the biggest threat that existed was if Walmart chose to not carry M-rated games.
And it's a good thing that doesn't even matter anymore practically. That's another cool thing about living in 2014 is like, you're not gonna not get video games to consumers. We have the internet now.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up an excellent point. I mean, I don't even know, do kids these days, I sound like such an old man, do kids these days
No, that's how I sound.
Yeah, do they use Amazon and just circumvent going to the store, just go into the store, and because they don't check age or anything, as long as you have a credit card.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably trick your parents into getting you, I'm giving all the teens out there
to be fair,
cheat
Steam does have those drop downs, and you can't lie on those.
No, I was gonna say, you can trick your parents, you can give your parents cash to put it on a Visa gift card, because you're like, oh, I'm gonna go out.
This turned into a tutorial pretty quickly.
I know, it's cheat codes for teens. Hey kids, put all your money on a Visa gift card.
Because no teens ever thought if I could get my hands on the magic piece of plastic.
Right. So just put your money in gift cards.
We just said the word teens way more than I have probably in all of the last 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's got it's
no one says,
mandated.
when you walk through the door, there's like, you must address the teens. There's a big sign on the door. But teens has a Z at the end.
Of course it does.
And a backwards hat.
That's what the youth's like.
You as
a teen.
Yeah, exactly. As my teen. I mean, how did you regard violent video games when you were younger? Did it have an allure of the thing that you couldn't access? Were you able to get them easily?
A little bit. Like, there was a little bit of borrowing GTA from friends at school, GTA 3, I remember. But like, I don't know, man. I never sought it out. I never fetishized it. I remember the first time I ran over someone in GTA and saw the blood trail on the tires. I'm like, that's pretty gross. No thanks. And then just played it, but I was like a little grossed out by it. My parents weren't hyper militant about it.
How about kind of like within, like, you're in North Carolina, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like kind of within like your school, like what was kind of the I've been trying to figure out, because I could walk into R-rated movies in Berkeley with no problem.
Adam and I didn't have any problem.
I have a really fond memory of having to get my mom's permission to buy Fear Effect on the PS1.
Wait, Fear Effect?
That was the Sexy Spies.
That was with the two girls.
Sexy Spies.
Oh, wow, I forgot all about that.
There was a definite component of like needing permission and stuff like that. But there was also the internet, so who cared? I downloaded Metal Gear Solid 1 onto my PC, on my crappy old PC, and played it. And the SRB wasn't there to peer over my shoulder, so what are you gonna do?
Yeah. I mean, the SRB having no oversight when it comes to the digital transactions. I mean, it's kind of, it once again shows what a paper tiger.
And I wonder what it means for like AO games, because the reason AO games have always never existed, they say, is because no physical retailer will stock them. But with everything going digital, I wonder if that restriction will matter less and less. Like, would Steam stock an AO game? I'm guessing yes.
Do you think there will ever be parental restrictions put in place for downloadable games?
Like a smart chip?
Like
or
a smart, yeah,
something.
The V chip, the V chip in television.
Maybe. I mean, I know that with like Steam Big Picture, there is a parental control settings. There's family settings in the options now, but like, I just think we don't care as much as we
will the Kinect sensor sense that you're a child under the age of 18 by how fast you're...
Or just diminutive. I mean, that would be unfortunate.
Well,
you want to get misclassified.
Peter Dinklage can never get cool games.
Damn. It's true.
You know, I forgot all about the V chip, because didn't that start because Illinois Senator Paul Simon, the one with the bow ties, happened to like turn on the TV for the first time in a decade while he was in a hotel room, and someone was showing the Terminator, and he couldn't believe this was available for children to watch?
I thought it was Beavis and Butthead.
That came late. Yeah, maybe it was around the same time.
Yeah, it was around the same time.
But I mean, I think it's like going back to our good old friend Leland, the greatest crime novel that I interviewed twice. That these politicians, I'm assuming they spend a lot of their time having the dinners, cutting the deals, shipping the arms, allegedly. And they're the ones who think that they understand. Yeah, I think when they discover what's out there in pop culture, they're shocked because they've never been consuming it at all. Whereas like everyone else that they're supposed to be speaking on their behalf, it's kind of just it's part of their life.
Yeah.
That I mean, I still wonder, like, was there really that much outrage, or is it just all the right people in front of the right microphone?
I think there was an audience for the outrage. Like a lot of the people who are mad about violent video games are dead and dying, and this generation is entering their 20s who grew up on it, who frankly don't care anymore. And now, like, you still see the occasional local news story about a kid bought a 3DS that had a 3D picture of a penis on it, but it's not about the content of the games anymore. It's about like, it's the PSP can look at porn in the web browser stuff, you know?
Yeah, so that's somehow this thing that needs to be illicit called video games is, you know, it's a gateway drug to evils.
Yeah.
Like pornography and Shrimp Boy.
We're on the tail end of that thing that happened with music and comic books, where it's like, okay, the panic's dying down. People will maybe have a panic attack about VR 2 or 3 years from now when they realize that exists, but right now, it feels like nobody's mad at video games for being a violent, or an a frequently violent medium.
Well, to Leland.
Yes,
Leland.
allegedly.
So we kind of talked about the place of video games in larger culture today, and there's a really great audiobook about that called Extra Lives, Why Video Games Matter by Tom Bissell, which you can listen to on audible.com. Audible has over 100,000 audiobooks and spoken word entertainment in every genre to download to your phone or MP3 player and played back anytime, anywhere. To get a free copy of Extra Lives or any audiobook, go to audiblepodcast.com/casual and sign up today.